Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gonatai ki jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai, Shri Shivada Landaneshwar ki jai, Shri Shivada Damodar ki jai. Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Grand, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Budaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale, Shri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namani, Namaste Sarasvate Devi, Gauravani Vacharini, Nirvasesha Sanyavadi, Paschachadesha Tarini. Oh my goodness. Is it text number 9? 9 to 26. Yeah, 9 to 26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam. Text number 9 on the board or on the screen?
We can do 26 on the
Pardon?
We can do 26 on the screen as we go.
It's 26. Oh, okay. You're gonna spinning over on the computer. Yeah. Unfortunately, well, it's a shame. I mean, text number 9 of it itself is like. I guess they're all important, but it's a very interesting verse to say the least. But there is no purport. It doesn't mean that we can't give a commentary on it just because there's no purport. But we'll take it as it comes. Saryada vitato yogo nirvinaksha danehaya matparaye kritamantrasya karishe mad anugraham. When he becomes frustrated in his attempts to make money and instead befriends my devotees, I bestow my special mercy upon him. Tad Brahma Paramang Shukshmang Chinmatram Sad Anantakam Vigyayat Matayadira Sangsarat Parimuchyate. A person who has thus become sober fully realizes the Absolute as the highest truth, the most subtle and perfect manifestation of spirit, the transcendental existence without end. In this way, realizing that the Supreme Truth is the foundation of his own existence, he is freed from the cycle of material life. Atomam sudarada radhyam hitvanyan vachite janaha tatastha ashutoshebhyo labdaraja shiyodati tataha matak pramata varadam vismayan chyavajanate. Because I am difficult to worship, people generally avoid me and instead worship other deities who are quickly satisfied. When people receive kingly opulences from these deities, they become arrogant, intoxicated with pride and neglectful of their duties. They dare to offend even the demigods who have bestowed benedictions upon them. Shri Shukovacha Shapa Pasadayorisha Brahma Vishnu Shivadaya Sadhyak Shapa Prasadanga Shivo Brahmana Chachutaha. Sukadeva Goswami said, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva and others are able to curse or bless one. Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are very quick to curse or bestow benedictions, my dear king, but the infallible Supreme Lord is not. Atvachodharantimam itihasam paratanam vrikasurhaya girisho parangdad vapasankatam. In this connection, an ancient historical account is related concerning how the Lord of Kailash mountain was put into danger by offering a choice of benedictions to the demon Vrika. Vriko nama surak putra shakune pati naradam drishtavashutosham patpracha deveshu trishu durmatihi. The demon named Vrika, a son of Shakunis, once met Narada on the road. The wicked fellow asked him which of the three chief gods could be pleased most quickly. Sa aha devam girisham upada vashur siddhyasi yo pabhyam gunadoshabhyam ashutoshati kupyati. Narada told him, worship Lord Shiva and you will soon achieve success. He quickly becomes pleased by seeing his worshipper's slightest good qualities and quickly angered by seeing his slightest fault. Like Lord Shiva is known as Ashutosha. Dishasya banayos tushta stuvator vandinoriva Aishvaryam atulang datva tata apa susankatam. He became pleased with ten-headed Ravana and also with Bana when they each chanted his glories like bards in a royal court. Lord Shiva then bestowed unprecedented power upon each of them, but in both cases he was consequently beset with great difficulty. Oh, there is a purport to this verse, but you've gone on to 26, is it? What shall I do?
We usually go into 26, read the purport and then go further.
Really? Be time to finish before we start. Eh? Yeah, probably good. Ravana worshipped this is purport. Ravana worshipped Lord Shiva to gain power and then misused that power to uproot the Lord's resident sacred Kailash Parvat. You may know that story when this is early on in the pastimes, pre-pastimes you can say, before Lord Ramchandra came into the scene, and when Ravana received these powerful boons from Lord Shiva, when he came to Kailash, he wasn't very impressed. In fact, he tried to uproot the mountain. He tried to lift it up. And of course, Lord Shiva and Parvati was very disturbed when she was rocking the whole mountain. So Lord Shiva, realizing what was going on, this Ravana was up to his business. So he just pressed down the mountain. It crushed his arms. Lord Ravana's arms were stuck under the mountain for thousands of years, a long time anyway. And eventually he prayed to Lord Shiva for his mercy, and Lord Shiva then released him and he gave him further boons. But at that time also Ravana insulted Nandi, the bull, Lord Shiva's bull. He appeared before him in the form of a monkey, and Ravana became really upset. Oh, not upset, but he challenged him. You can't stop me. He said, you can't go any further. He said, you can't stop me going further. And anyway, he got really angry with this Nandi and tried to rock the mountain. And Nandi cursed him that, in the future there would be an army of monkeys would destroy your whole kingdom. One by one, Ravana was cursed. Cursed by Vedavati. He was cursed by the king of Ayodhya, Aranya, or whatever his name is. Different personalities cursed him, and all the curses came true. Aranya cursed him that one of his descendants would be the death of him in the human form. And Vedavati, she said, I will reappear, and she reappeared as Sita Devi, and I will also be your death. He didn't, he really, kind of asked for trouble, you could say. And this is what happens when we approach demigods, usually for material boons. We're basically asking for trouble. We think it's a solution to our problems, but it just causes more problems, more entanglement in this world. Become covered over. On Banasura's request, another story here, Lord Shiva agreed to personally guard Bana's capital, and later he had to fight for Bana against Sri Krishna and his sons. Banasura was the one. Was he the one who had 1,000 arms? Banasura? Yeah? He got all these arms from Lord Shiva. And then, he wanted who to fight with. And eventually, of course, Krishna cut off all of his arms. And Lord Shiva, even though Lord Shiva was fighting for him, and perhaps one of the greatest battles the universe has ever known, Lord Shiva on one side with Banasura and Kartikeya and his whole team, Ganesh and everybody, and all on one side, and then Krishna on the other side with, his army, and quite a battle, to say the least. Hityadishtas tamasura upadavat svagatataha kedara atmakravyena juvanogni mukam haram. Shukadeva Goswami continued, thus advised, the demon proceeded to worship Lord Shiva at Kedarnath by taking pieces of flesh from his own body and offering them as oblations into the sacred fire which is Lord Shiva's mouth. So this is Vrikasura. I remember we were on Brajmandal Prikrama quite some time back. We were doing dramas at every place. When we came to Kedarnath, we did this drama Vrikasura, and it was quite interesting. Although it was like on the spot, spontaneous. We had a few minutes, a little time to prepare, like half an hour or something. It wasn't long. And we got this, we got someone to make this kind of dough. Of course, it was semi-dark and people couldn't see clearly the stage anyway. So it was Rikasura, and I had all this kind of dough attached to my arms and things, but you couldn't really make out from a distance, my limbs. Kind of floppy dough. And it had this kind of red, drippy stuff on the back side of it. And when the scene came of cutting off the flesh, I had a knife, and off came the dough, and I just threw it at the audience, And the kids were screaming and running for their life. They actually thought it was real, It was really fun. It's funny we get fun from different things, but If it had been real flesh, it probably wouldn't have been much. It may have been fun for them, but it wouldn't have been fun for me. But he took his own flesh. I mean, this is determination. When you make a vow, we can learn from Rikasura. I mean, not that we should take our own flesh, not like that. We're not saying that. But the determination in his vow. Can you imagine? Yet the Buddha had a minute portion of his determination, though it's fixed on a mundane purpose, but nonetheless he was really willing to give up his own body for his material objectives, And we can learn something from that, I guess. He offered them as oblations into the sacred fire, which is Lord Shiva's mouth. Devo palabdim aprapya nirvedat saptamehani shiro vrishchadsu ditina tad tirta klinamurdijam tadamaha karuniko sadurjatir yatavayo chagnirayo dittato nalat nigriyadarbhyam bujayo nyavarayat tad sparshanat bhuya upaskritat kriti. Rikasura became frustrated after failing to obtain a vision of the Lord. Finally, on the 7th day, after dipping his hair into the holy waters at Kedarnath and leaving it wet, he took up a hatchet and prepared to cut off his head. But at that very moment, the supremely merciful Lord Shiva rose up out of the sacrificial fire, looking like the god of fire himself, and grabbed both arms of the demon to stop him from killing himself, just as he would do. By Lord Shiva's touch, Rikasura once again became whole. All of his flesh came back into form again. We see, but this for different, you could say a very different situation in a sense. We see a similar kind of a example. Now, Rikasura was doing it for the wrong purposes, but in the case of, say, for instance, King Shibi, noted in the example of Parikshit Maharaj, for instance, being as charitable as King Shibi. King Shibi was a great king of ancient times, and he was known for his intense, unlimited, let's say, charity. He would never refuse anyone charity, no matter who they were. He was so charitable, considered to be the emblem of charity. And so the demigods tested him, and Indra and Agni tested him. I don't know which way around it was, but I think Indra took the position of a eagle or something, and Agni took the position of a pigeon. And the eagle was chasing the pigeon. The eagles by nature are carnivores. They naturally eat other birds and other creatures. So he was chasing the pigeon, and the pigeon flew into the court of King Shibi and landed on the king's lap. Protect me, please. So the king said, of course I'll give you shelter. What shelter do you want? He said, there's an eagle coming, and the eagle is trying to eat me. Please save my life. So yes, surely I'll protect you. A few moments later, the eagle came flying in looking for the pigeon. Seeing the pigeon sitting on the king's lap, the eagle said, hey, please, you're the king, you have to satisfy me. I want to eat that pigeon. You have to satisfy my desire too. So the king is in a dilemma. He's promised to protect the pigeon, but he's also obligated to fulfill the wishes of the eagle. So what to do? So he requested if the eagle would kindly accept his offer. He said, if you please accept my offer, if you're willing to take the flesh from my own body, and whatever weight this pigeon is, I will cut that much flesh off. We can put the pigeon on a scale, and you can eat the equivalent weight of my own flesh. So the eagle said, oh, all right then. He agreed. So they put the pigeon on the scale. The king started lopping off his own flesh and putting it on the other side of the scale. But the pigeon was always heavier, no matter how much flesh he put on that scale. Just like now, this is the month of Damodar, and you all know the story of how Mother Yasoda was trying to tie up baby Krishna with ropes. Did he manage to do it? Did she manage to do it? I mean, yes and no. Eventually Krishna agreed to allow her to tie him up, but every time there were 200 meters of rope And he wasn't that fat. You know? I mean, maybe some of our devotees might be a bit fat, but Krishna wasn't fat. He was a little baby, a little boy, just a young boy, and just a few years old. And still, she couldn't tie him up, no matter how much rope she tied one piece to the next, one piece she tied one to the mortar. She kept joining ropes to ropes to ropes to ropes to ropes, and still, somehow or another, it was 2 fingers too short, no matter how many ropes she tied. It, mystically speaking, the ropes kind of shrank or whatever, but they were just too short, and she couldn't tie him up. And she was sweating, and like that, you know, she was really perspiring. So Krishna, seeing her endeavor eventually by his mercy. So they said that those 2 fingers are 1 your endeavor and 2 is the mercy of Krishna. They both have to be there. So this fellow, Bhikasura, of course, in the case of King Shibi, he was cutting off his flesh, and still that pigeon was heavier, no matter how much he, just a pigeon, small pigeon, but somehow or another. And eventually he put his whole body on the scale. Put his whole body, and just gave up his whole body to the eagle, to try to appease the eagle and satisfy the pigeon, protect the pigeon. So he was willing to give up his whole body for the sake of, just the sake of a pigeon. And that's how charitable he was. And of course then the demigods revealed themselves, because they were fully satisfied and convinced that indeed what the bards were singing about him was true, that there's no one as charitable as this King Shibi. On the opposite side of the fence we find somebody like Vrikasura, who is also willing to give up his own life, but for a very unfortunate purpose, very troublesome purpose. Devam savavre papihan varang bhuta bhayavaham yasya karam shirshni dasye sa miyatamiti. Shukadeva Goswami continued, the benediction sinful Vrika chose from the Lord would terrify all living beings. No, I didn't finish the previous verse, did we? We didn't read number 20. Or did we read? Where did we get to? Huh? The pages have flipped over. What number? We read 19? Yeah, 20, okay. Tam aha changalam malam vinishvame yata bikamam vitarami tevaram priyeya toyena nvinam papadyatam aho tyayatma bisham ardyate vita. Lord Shiva said to him, my friend, please stop. Ask for me whatever you want, and I will bestow that boon upon you. Alas, you have subjected your body to great torment for no reason, since I am pleased with a simple offering of water from those who approach me for shelter. As is mentioned, of course, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 16th chapter, that the demons, they torture their own bodies, practically speaking, for sense gratification. Devam savavre papihan varang bhuta bhayavaham yasya karam shishni dasya samriyatam iti. Sukadeva Goswami continued, the benediction sinful Vrika chose from the Lord would terrify all living beings. So when a devotee asks for benediction, it's all beneficial. The devotee doesn't ask material benefit. If it only asks a benediction, like Prahlad Maharaj, it's for the welfare of others. He was always praying for them. He said, Lord, if you really want to give me a benediction, Lord, I pray for my father who's lying dead. Or I pray that all living entities in the universe become freed from envy and become peaceful. Yes, I can't remember. 5th Canto Bhagavatam. But the demons, they ask for very selfish and usually horrible benedictions. People in the material world, even if they approach their concept of God or demigods, they don't necessarily ask for such a mode of ignorance benediction as Vrikasura. They may also, depending on which mode they're in, but they always ask for material benedictions. That's still unfortunate, because that leads to birth and death. It doesn't deliver one from ignorance. It means may we remain in this world of suffering, dukkhalayam shashvatam. So they don't know what to ask for. They ask for the wrong thing. So that story is there of that lady. She was a simple lady living in the forest. She would collect wood, firewood, and she'd go to the marketplace daily just to sell a few pice of firewood just to maintain her livelihood. She'd carry them on her head. So one day she's walking through the forest to the market, and all the sticks fell off her head, and she was devastated. She was so too tired, she couldn't pick them up. And she said, "Oh, God, help me. God, help me." She didn't know what to do. And it just so happened that she was underneath a kalpavriksha tree by God's arrangement. And God appeared, Krishna appeared. She said, "Are you God?" He said, "Yes." "Oh, wow. Please, God, can you help me?" "What do you want?" He said, "Oh, God, please help me." Yes, tell me what you want. Please pick the sticks up and put them back on my head." "Of course." So Krishna picked up the sticks and put them back on her head. "Thank you, God. You're very kind." And off she went. And it's just like that, people asking the demigods or Krishna even for material things. The difference is Krishna will frustrate people if they maybe initially will give something, but ultimately maybe not. That's why people don't like worshipping Krishna if they know about it. They think Krishna, they don't like that picture. The South Indians particularly don't like the picture of Krishna with his flute. When he plays his flute, he blows everything away. He blows it. That's what they say, you know. And this picture of Parthasarati, very inauspicious. They don't like to have that in their homes either. On the war, on the battlefield, you know, breaking up the families. They're so materialistic. And most people just have no idea we also may sometimes have no idea what's in our real favor. We think we're here to get something material out of it, get a nice comfortable nest to lay our eggs in, right? Whatever eggs we want to lay. Subtle and gross, isn't it? Huh? Geez, that water was 1 degree too cold. You know. Anyway, it's kind of sideline, but yeah, sometimes we want something out of Krishna consciousness, mundane, not just spiritual. Purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement is to get out of the mundane world, not to get the mundane world out of Krishna consciousness. But sometimes we lose the thread, we lose the point. So anyway, all these stories are there as a part to help us to understand what the ultimate purpose of human life is. It's not meant kamasya nendriyapati labo jiveti yavata jivasya tattva jignas natayascha karmabi. It's not meant for sense gratification. It's meant for jivasya tattva jignas. It's meant for inquiry into the nature of the absolute truth. That should be the goal of all our work. How to realize and, of course, work on that practical application to help us to realize what the nature of the absolute truth is. But persons who approach the demigods, you know, they generally don't do it for that reason. There may be exceptions that they may pray to the demigods for devotional service to Krishna. And this part of it can be, for some people, maybe whatever reason they do it, but it may help them to proceed on the spiritual path, but most people don't. And most people, even to God, most people don't pray to God, give me freedom from all materialistic conditioning, and may I be engaged in eternal loving devotion service in a selfless way. Not many pray like that, and even our own mind may not be quite in line with such a prayer sometimes. We still have our material objective desires. Sukadeva Goswami continued how we read that. Tachdva bhagavan rudro durmana eva bharata omiti prahasang tasmai dederher amritang yata. Upon hearing this, Lord Rudra seemed somewhat disturbed. Oh, I think we missed a verse again, didn't we? So many verses here. What's that? Second part? Vrika said, second part. Vrika said, May death come to whomever I touch upon the head with my hand. Nice benediction. On the devotee side, you could say another comparison. Whoever touches or whoever comes in contact with the devotee, their material life is dead. Isn't it? Just a moment. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koi. A moment's association with the devotee. And one can attain all perfection, because that little association with the devotee is the beginning of the end of our material sojourn. We may struggle and try to keep it going for a bit longer, as long as we can. But that moment's association with the devotee, it's like sometimes the examples given of when that little, you can't even see it, imperceptible radiation touches us. It's just a matter of time. It just gradually, whatever it does, eats away whatever it does. So similarly, the association of devotees, one moment's association, lava matra, is perfection of all the, whatever, scriptures, everything contains perfection. And one doesn't know it at that moment. So because in the opposite direction was thinking, let me just touch once, everyone's dead. It said the demoniac person, the other fellow, he wanted that benediction also from, he wanted this benediction to have the most valuable thing in the universe. Huh? When he actually approached Sanatana Goswami, but Sanatana Goswami gave him a special kind of touchstone that turns iron into gold. So he thought this is the most valuable thing, gold. But eventually he came to his senses, of course. But you have to give this up. If we really want the jewel of Krishna consciousness, now in the beginning it's probably not going to be an immediate thing, but if we really want pure devotional service, then we have to be willing to give up all other shelf. That's the conclusive verse of Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadhanam pratyagya, mami karma sharanam praja, ham tvam sarvapapi mokshe shami marshuja. That's what it means. Give up all other forms of shelter and completely take shelter of me. Even give up this idea that through Varna Ashram, through yoga, through jnana, all these other paths of yoga which have been mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, and so on, everything and anything, just give it all up. Dharma pojita kuttavotra paramoni matsaranam satam, and take to the highest, savai pungsang paro dharma yuto bhakti adhokshide, the highest practice of pure devotional service, topmost religion, the topmost occupation of the living entity. But we have to be willing to let go of all these other, say, objectives, or these other goals in life, and make Krishna vyavasayapnika here. Samadhana vidyati. We have to make Krishna our firm goal, objective, our mind, intelligence fixed on that goal, if we want to attain that. We have to become resolute in purpose. And that's what sincere means. Sincere comes from the Latin language. It was a word used. Prabhupada says all you need is sincerity. It's not some kind of sentimental kind of, thing. It has a literal meaning. And the literal meaning is that which was without any blemish. It's pure devotion. Sincerity means without any other motive whatsoever, without any other interference, so to speak. We may not quite be on that level. And it comes from marble. Marble is, it's not marble here, but you have a marble floor. Sometimes you see there's kind of blemishes in the marble after some time. The marble is therefore called insincere. It actually had that blemish before, and they even, maybe not nowadays, but they didn't used to have the technology probably. But oftentimes the marble would not be smooth. No matter what they tried, there's sort of blemishes there. And they'd fill it up with this kind of wax that looked exactly like marble. But after some time the wax would melt or be worn off, and you see the blemish would come. That would be insincere. When it's completely clean, it would be called sincere. Anyavilasita shunyam jnana karmajanavitam anukulena krishna nushnam. Pure devotional service is without any of these other motives for material returns or for liberation or anything. So that's pure devotional service. It's anukul. Anukul means favourable. But this is pratikul. This is just like Prabhupada says, with a modern day so-called scientists, they may have some, materialistically speaking, some knowledge of some things, but what do they do with it? In the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, they do it, they produce horrible things, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Yeah, they're very expert at producing things which are a negative effect on the atmosphere, negative effect on your consciousness, negative effect on the health, negative effect on all sorts of things. So many so-called advancement in society, and everybody knows how healthy mobile phones are. They're very healthy, isn't it? If ever you have a headache, use a mobile. That'll solve your problem. If ever you're having a problem with your diet, just use one of these, what they call them? Microwaves. Microwave. Put some processed food in the microwave. It's good for your health. Right? And make sure you drink lots of chlorine water mixed with a nice dose of fluoride. It's really good for you. Isn't it? And breathe the nice fresh air of London. It's really good. Very good. Nice healthy life, living underground in the subway. That's what I heard Mahavishnu Maharaj said that they're building an underground city just over here underneath Tottenham Court Road tube station. Is that what they're doing? What they doing underground there? Hey? Dayamore?
It's like a new rail network.
That's what they say, huh? That's what they say.
That's the official one.
No, I wonder what they're really doing down there. They're doing something pretty big down there. Anyway, whatever it is, let's look forward to the wonderful new rail network that's going to be right on your doorstep to make life happier, more peaceful, more pleasing, no doubt. Another way, everything has basically it just brings death closer to hand. Touch Tutva Bhagavan Rudro Durmana Eva Bharata Omiti. Oh, we read that one. Upon hearing this, Lord Rudra seemed somewhat disturbed. Nonetheless, O descendant of Bharat, he vibrated Om to signify his assent, granting Vrika the benediction with an ironic smile as if giving milk to a poisonous snake. Because sometimes these things are there because we know that actually there's another plan going on here, that this is going to be the cause of something very great in the future. Even Ravana, when the various things were taking place, even the banishing of Ram to the forest, which was considered to be a dreadfully inauspicious activity, the demigods were smiling because they knew that this was all part of the plan. It would be very soon now that Ravana would be destroyed. So this Vrika would be destroyed very soon by by the benediction given to him by Lord Shiva. Sata dvara parikshartang shambhurmurni kalasuraha svahastam datum arebe sobhibhyat svakritashchivaha. To test Lord Shambhu's benediction, the demon then tried to put his hand on the Lord's head. Just to make sure it was, you have to test it, don't you? It has to be tested out. Someone gives you just test it, just see. Maybe you can think of some examples. You may use it with food or something. You eat it first. See if it's good or not. Teno pasrishta santrashta paradavan save patuhu yavadantang divo bhume kashthanam udagad utak. As the demon pursued, Lord Shiva fled swiftly from his abode in the north, shaking with terror. He ran as far as the limits of the earth, the sky, and the corners of the universe. When we wonder why this is happening, Lord Shiva, you'd think, would be more than powerful enough to wipe him out with no problems at all. Obviously, Krishna's allowing this to happen, and it's a story, and it's also an example. And there's a whole episode approaching now, which was meant to take place. But Lord Shiva, having given this benediction, he wasn't going to withdraw it. And then today's verse, I suppose, is 25 and 26. There's a very short purport again, so we just read it. Ajanantag patividing tushnim asansareshvaraha tato vaikuntam agamed basvarang tamasakparam yatta narayanak sakshan yasinam paramogatihi shantanam nyasta dandanam nam yato na vartate gataha. The great demigods could only remain silent, not knowing how to counteract the benediction. Then Lord Shiva reached the luminous realm of Vaikuntha, beyond all darkness, where the Supreme Lord Narayana is manifest. That realm is the destination of renunciates who have attained peace and given up all violence against other creatures. Going there, one never returns. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, Lord Shiva entered the planet of Shvetadweep, a special outpost of the spiritual world within the confines of the material universe. There on a beautiful white island surrounded by the celestial ocean of milk, Lord Vishnu rests on the serpent bed of Anantashesh, making himself available to the demigods when they need his help. And that's the island of Shvetadweep within this universe. And that's where Lord Shiva went whenever they need shelter or need some, like Lord Brahma, when Bhumi Devi was feeling greatly distressed and approached Lord Brahma, then Lord Brahma went to Lord Shvetadweep, and there he prayed to Kshirodakshayi Vishnu to please help do something about this. So similarly Lord Shiva went there to the island of Shvetadweep to take shelter. So the example is there, and another angle of this story, of course, is Vrikasura is a very exceptional, it's an extreme case, but basically speaking, every situation we're in is of a similar category, maybe to less extreme. But there's danger. Samasriti padapalavalpavam padam punya yashomarare pavambadi vatsa param param padam padam param yad bibadam natesham. There's danger at every step in this world. It's not just when we literally see it, and probably we've all had a situation which has been extremely dangerous. And just we're pleased to, I'm not really sure yet, Mukunda Maharaj, I don't know if you're updating on his health situation. I just looked just before class, and I don't know if it was the latest update, but the update was that the operation was said to be successful, but he was still unconscious, so they weren't, there's still going to be some time yet before they're absolutely sure. But he had, if we don't know, he had an operation yesterday, our time, I suppose, and on his heart, he had a heart attack. It's a very heavy heart attack, and so he had an operation, and they say it's been successful. So let's hope and see. But these dangers are there. We take it for granted that sometimes maybe there's not, but anything can happen at any moment. It may not be that Vrikasura will come crashing through the window with his, and touch our heads or something, and so the head will burst to pieces or something. But there's danger at every moment. Anything may happen to anyone in this world. And we have to prepare ourselves. And just like here, Lord Shiva, he is showing that ultimately we can't protect ourselves. No one can protect ourselves. We have to take shelter of Krishna. That's the objective, the purpose, objective lesson to be learnt here, is that only Lord Vishnu ultimately can protect us all. Everything is under his shelter. We have to take shelter of him. But to really truly take shelter, actually everyone's under his shelter, but in different ways, just like everyone's under the government's shelter, but maybe in different ways. Some are in the hospital, some are in the prison, some are here and some are there. So everyone in that sense is being sheltered, maintained and protected by the Lord, according to their will and desire and karma. But if we really want the shelter of the Lord, then this is mentioned here. That realm is the destination of renunciates. Those who actually renunciate is not just someone like Vrikasura who's willing to renounce everything for mundane reasons, but those who have actually given up the selfish motivation of wanting to obtain either one or the other, positive or negative, for their own selfish purposes. And a real renunciation means to understand that everything belongs to Krishna and everything should be utilized in Krishna's service, where consciousness is fixed on him. And they've given up this. They're not envious of any other living entity. Namatsaranam, they're freed of all envy of other living entities. They only think of the welfare of other living entities. And because they have no separate desires, such devotees are always peaceful, unless such persons are eligible to enter into that kingdom of God. One has to become pure in heart to enter into the kingdom of God. What's that verse? Slip my mind. Tatenu kampam susamikshaman bonjana ivatmi kutavi pakam vidvagva prepare vishtam namaste jiveti mukti pade sadaya bak. Those who, even though one's in a difficult, dangerous situation, Lord Brahma says that although in a very difficult situation, the devotee doesn't ask anything from you, my Lord. He simply glorifies you. He simply focuses his attention on you, thinking, actually, I deserve to be in a much worse situation than this. You minimize my suffering. I deserve worse, much worse. And they just simply take shelter of Krishna in that condition, asking nothing in return. And then Lord Brahma says, such a person, such a devotee, is eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. They simply take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no matter what the situation is. And suddenly we see these dangerous situations are, in one sense, are favourable. Just like in Vrindavan, when demons come, the gopis and the other residents of Vrindavan, they don't call the police, they don't, get out there, whatever, pea shooters or whatever they've got, start screaming and hiding, well, maybe they scream, but bury themselves under the sand or something. They just simply call out to Krishna. They just take shelter of Krishna. Because we're not on that platform, we have to act as well as take shelter of Krishna, both. Both have to be done. Not that we just simply sit there and take shelter of Krishna, I'm not going to do anything. We have to do both. We make our endeavour and take shelter of Krishna, fight and consciousness of me, both at our stage. That's the stage of becoming truly dependent on Krishna. I remember one time Radha-Nath Maharaj told the story of when he was in Varsha. He was visiting one sadhu on top of Mangar, I think it was, one of the hills there. And there was a story going around. It was a long time ago. There was a very dangerous tiger in the vicinity, and people were, making all kinds of. They were very worried. They already killed some people apparently, and so this sadhu everyone was leaving, and moving to safer places. And this sadhu wouldn't move. He just sat up on the hill. And Radha-Nath Maharaj went to see him. He wasn't Radha-Nath Maharaj there, but he went to see him. And he said, there's a tiger around here. It's very dangerous. Are you okay? He said, no problem. I've got my stick. I've got a stick. So he said, how's that stick going to help you with the tiger? He said, I know. Krishna will protect with that. Still, I have to do my part. I have to try, at least I have to show my part. You hold the stick. We try our part and depend on Krishna. See, just like Mother Soda, she tried her best and Krishna did the rest. So, like that with a devotee, we can't demand, we can't force, we can't just walk in, but we try to cultivate the mood of dependence upon Krishna, the qualities which are pleasing to Krishna, the attitude which is pleasing, that selfless attitude. Obviously mixed in the beginning, but we have to try to come to that platform of pure devotional service, so we become eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. There's no fear. If we surrender to Krishna, says, I protect you from all fear. There's no more fear, no danger. One is taking shelter of Krishna, like a child taking shelter of a strong father, has no fear. And we take shelter of Krishna. There's no fear. Even Lord Shiva is teaching us that. Not to be guru, he's teaching by example. To take shelter of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, well, we're finished there. We did start 30 minutes late, so it's not too bad. Any questions? Hari Bol.
All right, just one quick question. I mean, from our point of view, if someone gives us something, we should show gratitude, don't we? We don't. In the case of Rikasura, Lord Shiva gave him this benediction, and instead of showing gratitude, he attacks him with that thing he had given him.
Yeah.
So, how are we meant to understand the mentality of that particular mentality?
Well, you're such a pious person, you can't understand it. You don't need to. You sometimes see this, that sometimes you get something off of somebody and they turn against you with the same thing. They use it against you. You give some the information sometimes, and they use the information against you. Or you give them some wealth, and they misuse it, sometimes against you. In a sense, we're all doing that against Krishna. In one sense, although he doesn't necessarily take it like that. He's giving us so many things, and we use it against his interest. Sometimes the spiritual master gives us facility. Even Prabhupada said that, they kind of indicated that sometimes his disciples do that. He gives them a position, they use it in a way that, just causes him no end of distress and disturbance. It's this very, very selfish mentality. It's extremely, I can say, envious, selfish mentality. Seeing oneself in the center, seeing everything and everybody around you for your enjoyment, meant for my pleasure. Wanting to be God. There's now knowledge. People are given knowledge and they misuse the knowledge. It's the envious nature. People envious of God. Ultimately, want to become God. They want to take over your position. What's it called? Mushtika, what's that? Baba. Mouse. From a mouse became the tiger. You know that story?
Yeah.
And then what did the tiger want? So the mouse was feeling greatly distressed. So he approached the sadhu and said, help me. What do you want? This cat. Oh, I'm terrified. What do you want? I want to become a cat. So basically I'm a cat. Became a cat. All right. And then I think thought they're nice now, I'm a cat. Then the dog came along. Oh no, God, there's a blooming dog running for its life. Help, sadhu, what's up now? Dog. What do you want? Want to be a dog? Okay, become a dog. Dog, nice, happy dog. And then as long as I come along some kind of other animal, let's go straight to the top. The tiger came along, chasing the dog. Help, sadhu, tiger. What do you want? I want to be a tiger. Okay, become a tiger. There you go. What did the tiger do then? He looked at the sadhu and thought, looked like a nice meal. Must have been a chubby one. And what did sadhu do? Made him a mouse again. And you have to remember. But that's how it works in this really envious, selfish mind. We don't have to try to, spend our time trying to work that one out. But I'm sure you could give so many examples of that in our daily lives. How people use the very same thing against themselves or against others.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you.
I don't know. Anything else? Yes, Mother.
You mentioned about we need to leave it to Krishna, but we also need to make an endeavor. But where do we cut the fine line where it becomes so when we try for something, where do we draw the fine line where we surrender to Krishna and where we just become obsessed about doing something?
Where do we draw the fine line? Sometimes that looks a little bit. They go on side by side. It's not one or the other. With what we endeavour to do, our endeavour, of course, shouldn't be whatever it is. It shouldn't be. It is what it is. But it'd be better if our endeavour was with intelligence. And intelligence is guided. In other words, we see in the Bhagavad Gita so much emphasis is placed, at least in the early sections of the Gita, and in later too, upon acting according to one's position, according to one's nature. If you read, we haven't got the Bhagavad Gita standing in front of us, so I can read it if you want. You have Bhagavad Gita here? You know Bhagavad Gita? This is how we know where to draw the line. You have to have knowledge to know where to draw the line, or where that fine line is. And the line may be different, slightly different, for different persons. It's like in any, you have to know the goalposts, they say, to know what they are. So it may be not the same for everybody. But Krishna explains. he first of all explains that there are different, natured persons, different activities, and so on and so forth. This is material. By following the qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. So they kind of go on simultaneously. But you have to know, what is your work? It's better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. Every endeavour is covered by fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. So it goes on, this whole section of working in consciousness of Krishna. So the two have to be there. What is our activity? What we're doing in life. Maybe we don't know what our Swadharma is. Maybe we're in a situation where it's very complicated. So we need to take a little bit of guidance sometimes, a little bit of help. In a situation we don't have necessarily a Varna Ashram system which makes accommodation for that side of life a little bit more clear. And that what to do is Kali Yuga. Things are very complicated. So generally that which helps us to awaken our attachment, you could say, to Krishna, activities which help us, which don't impair our consciousness of Krishna. If we're doing things which are causing us to, let's say, become lax or slack in our devotional service, or causing us to become overwhelmed with material desire, and so on and so forth, maybe we're in the room where something's wrong somewhere. We've got to make some kind of analysis and adjustment of the situation. We learn from others how to do these two side by side, particularly in Kali Yuga. Prabhupada, Jiva Goswami, all acharyas have recommended that along with whatever work we're doing, no matter what it is, even if it isn't really according to our nature, you chant Hare Krishna at the same time as you're doing it, whenever possible, whatever that activity is. That will help us to become, let's say, a little immune from entanglement in those activities and help us to realize, the real purpose of life, to take shelter of Krishna. And that much you can do. It says, whatever the line is, try to make sure Krishna's on the line. He should be on every line. It may sometimes be a little complex, a little bit difficult to know. We go too far one way, too far the other way. But just keep chanting Hare Krishna, no matter what. Every endeavour is covered by some fault. Kalaya doshanadeva astiyeka mahanguna. Kali Yuga is the ocean of faults. Ocean of faults. There's only one good quality in this age. Kirtaneva Krishna said, Ekam Mahanguna. Only one good quality, chanting the holy name of Krishna. So keep chanting the holy names. Things will become clear. Come a little bit. That's what taking shelter of Krishna this age means. To chant the holy name of Krishna. So whatever work you're doing, take shelter of Krishna by chanting the holy names. What else can we do? Whatever else you can do, great. But that's the main thing. Just keep chanting as much as you can. No matter what else is there, even if it seems to be, materially going wrong, faulty, whatever it is. Just keep chanting. The dentist is open already. Anyone need any dental treatment? Free dentist next door there. Dentist, isn't it? It's pretty loud, dentist. Must be a very tough tooth. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Damodarastakam ki jai. This month of Damodar, take advantage of it. Extra special mercy. Don't miss out. Radha Damodar. Radharani's fate is said to be... Why is it Radha Damodar, we sing? Because this is Radharani's favourite pastime. She loves this pastime of Yasoda Devi, binding Krishna. She thinks, if only I could have that devotion, I could also bind Krishna like Mother Yasoda binds him. She loves this pastime of the love of Mother Yasoda binding Krishna in the ropes of her love. And Krishna fulfilled her desire too. She also bound him up with vines in the forest one day. Jai Shri Radha Damodar Ki Jai. Damodar. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Jananda Goswami Ki. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Horrible. That was Hari Bol or horrible?
Wonderful.
Ooh. That's at the dentist again. Now he's putting the fine dentist.
In each corner of the property is dentist.
Dentists everywhere. It's handled by dentists. But we have to become transcendental. Rise above the dental. Transcendental. I'll give you the Mickey.
There is. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll take then this one. Okay, we will read Sankirtan's course from yesterday. Okay. So, like this, yesterday in Closet Krishna in Rochester, we distributed 6 small books, 22 medium, 2 big and 8 Maha big books. Total collection 210 Lakshmi points. Haribol! In Radha's boutique, we distributed 7 books for total of 362.95 Lakshmi points. Haribol! And in Transcendental Restaurant, Govindas, we made 372 transactions and collected a total of 3,070.13 Lakshmi points. Haribol! And on Street Sankirtan, yesterday 4 scores were submitted, starting with Dalmora Das. So, 1 medium book, 1 big book, 6 Lakshmi points for 1.5 book point. Haribol! Guest greeters, 20 Lakshmi points. Very good. 6 big books for 6 book points. Haribol! Then Bhakti Gabriela, 18 Lakshmi points, 3 small, 3 medium, 2 big, 1 Maha big for 6.25 book points. Haribol! And Bhaktavayu, 52 Lakshmi points, 24 medium and 6 Maha big books for 24 book points. Haribol! So altogether 4 scores 96 Lakshmi points, 3 small books, 28 medium, 9 big, 7 Maha big books for 37.75 book points. Haribol! Okay, we are about to serve breakfast, prasadam. So on ladies' side, who would love to help? Thank you. On men's side, there's many devotees, and we need someone to help cleaning afterwards. Wow. Very demanding service. Okay, we have one Mataji, but we need some gentlemen to help as well. Okay, someone will appear. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll say a prayer. Dear Shri Shri Radha Londonishvara, Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra, Shri Shri Gornitai, and Giri Govardhan, we offer our most respectful obeisances unto you. With a mood of deep gratitude and appreciation, we request your causeless mercy upon us. For your pleasure, if you so desire, we wish to erect a holy place of your transcendental pastimes that will attract unlimited souls to your service and fulfill the vision of your pure devotee Srila Prabhupada for London. Please enable us to cooperate together in order to satisfy you in this way. We, your surrendered servants, humbly beg. New temple for the lordships, Ki Jai. Prasadam chain, please, Ki Jai, and the rest. Hare Krishna.